If you're building a guard in the lab for modern basketball, Jase Richardson might not be the prototype. He stands out as just 6'1.5" with a 6'6" wingspan, but what he is unusually polished. He's a confident shot maker with range, crafty finisher at the rim, and shows spectacular touch on the move, especially on his runners and floaters. He rarely turns the ball over, navigating driving angles with patience and poise, and finishes with a blend of footwork, balance, and soft touch that's uncommon for guards his age. Following in his father Jason's footsteps, Jase spent his freshman year at Michigan State under the great Tom Izzo, where he quietly put together one of the most efficient seasons you'll see from a young guard. Low turnovers, efficient finishing at the rim, great touch, and a floor game that's ahead of the curve, even if the usage was modest. He's not the loudest prospect in this class, but the more you watch, the more you realize Jase doesn't need flash to break you down, just timing, touch, and the right reads. That polish raises a key question. What kind of guard is he at the next level? Can he grow into a point guard who runs the show? Or will he miss that window and be left trying to carve out a role as an undersized off guard? At 6'1.5", those positional questions carry a bit more weight for Jase than they might for others. So let's take a closer look at his game and see what kind of lead guard potential he really has. What immediately was apparent when watching Jase pre-college was his approach on drives. He is extremely adept at generating driving angles with his footwork and flexibility. In this clip here, Jase rejects the screen, is headed downhill with the defense digging down and a man trailing. To compensate, Jase gathers almost horizontally, getting past the help and pinning off the defender behind him. From here, his soft touch and body control let him finish off the glass. This shows up all over Jase's pre-college film, whether it was with PG Elite in 2023, where he ran more pick and roll, or at Columbus High School, where he played more off the catch. Jase's driving ability consistently popped on tape. He's especially effective going left, finishing through tough contests at an impressive rate for his size, and the numbers back it up. Across 3 different pre-college samples, Jase consistently finished above 65% on layups. He also complemented that rim pressure with a polished in-between game. Whether it was pull-up twos or floaters, Jase posted efficient numbers in almost every area in the middle of the floor. That said, he does lean a bit too heavily on his left hand, often choosing to finish with it even when the right would be more natural or open. Jase's athleticism is another interesting layer. At first glance, there's not much about his build that screams explosiveness, but he's an underrated athlete. He's flashed real leaping ability, finishing with dunks and even catching lobs that often catch defenders off guard. He's not quite VJ Edgecombe's level of explosiveness, but for his size, he's clearly a plus athlete. Jase is a skilled 3-level scorer, capable of driving, pulling up, and stopping short in the mid-range. But the key question is, how much of a playmaker is he? Based on his high school film, Jase looked more like a safe connector than a dynamic creator. He consistently kept his turnover percentage below 10% across all 3 pre-college samples I watched, which speaks to his discipline. He makes the first level reads required to keep an offense flowing, especially in transition or off the catch. In the half court, his reads are more limited. He's shown flashes, throwing lobs after getting downhill or delivering sharp kickouts with his left hand. But these are often in scramble situations rather than structured pick and rolls. Most of his assists come from broken plays or early offense, not from manipulating defenses. That said, he's flashed just enough with pocket passes and dump-offs to his bigs to leave some optimism. Right now, I wouldn't say his passing is a strength based on the high school film, but it's not a weakness either, and with more reps, it could become a more functional part of his game. So heading into his freshman year at Michigan State, the question was clear. Could Jase scale up? Could he handle more creation load? Or was he best suited as an off-ball scorer with some secondary juice? College gave us the first real test and a clearer look at what kind of guard he might be long-term. Michigan State ran a structured offense through upperclassmen. Often playing with another point guard, Jase was largely used as a secondary or even tertiary option. He ranked 6th on his own team in usage. His touches were often off the catch, in transition, or running second side pick and roll. It was less about running the show and more about finishing plays. But that's not enough to fully excuse Jase's low usage percentage. He has a tendency to drift for stretches in a game regardless of his role in the offense. He isn't the sort of player that will force things or try to impose his will in scenarios that don't favor him. This willingness to defer and reset also contributed to his low turnover percentage as well in a positive light. However, the usage was sub 20% as well because of this, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. On the bright side, Jase's usage steadily increased throughout the year, going from 17.4% in the first 19 games to 21.6% in the last 17, indicating his aggressiveness improved as he got more comfortable with his teammates. Even in a limited role, Jase's driving and finishing held up. The same footwork, flexibility, angle creation from high school remained. He continued to be a strong left-handed finisher, though the right hand still lagged behind. What stood out most was how well his body control translated to college. He's not bulldozing through defenders, he's slithering by them, using gather steps and off timing to avoid contests. His 6'6" wingspan also shows up on extension finishes, helping him to keep the ball away from shot blockers and convert consistently. Compared to the other guards in the class, Jase's finishing stands out. His blend of craft and touch allows him to convert at the rim more consistently than many of his peers, despite his size. One of the clearest ways Jase can help an NBA team from day one is as a spot-up shooter. He scored 1.223 points per possession on spot-ups, 93rd percentile, by far his most common play type. He combines his shooting with downhill pressure. When defenders close out hard, he attacks the gap with footwork and touch that punish overcommitments, creating second rotation and opening up teammates. He's more than just a shooter, he distorts defenses, even off the ball. His floater and in-between game weren't quite as sharp as high school, but he still flashed it as a valuable counter. With more reps against length, that layer could become a more consistent weapon. If there's one area for growth in his shooting, it's volume. He hit 45% on his catch and shoot threes, but just took 7.3 threes per 100 possession. A solid mark, but you'd like it to be closer to the double digits. Sometimes he passed up open looks due to a slightly slow dip into his shooting pocket before releasing. That's a fixable mechanical tweak though. With his touch indicators, there's strong reason to believe he'll grow into a more aggressive and reliable shooter off the catch. In today's NBA, where off-ball guards need to space, attack, and keep things moving, Jase fits seamlessly. He doesn't need the ball to make an impact, which makes him a scalable offensive piece. The pull-up game is still developing overall though. He hit 47.5% on his dribble twos, continuing his pre-college efficiency, but made just 29% on 44 pull-up threes. He doesn't yet replicate his mid-range mechanics from deep. Still, given his touch, that's likely to improve with reps as well. On ball defensively, Jase competes. He's not a stopper, but he positions himself well, fights over screens, and contests without fouling. He's quick enough to contain the ball reasonably well, though quicker guards can still create separation. Off ball, he's solid, tagging rollers, digging down, and rotating on time. A number of his steals came from dig downs on drives, where he showed his awareness and quick hands. He likely won't anchor a defense or be a huge part of it, but within a team concept, I believe he can be a positive contributor. The concern though is his size. Bigger players can just go through him on switches, a common challenge for guards his size in today's NBA. His 6'6" wingspan helps, but physicality remains a question at the NBA level. Much of Jase's ceiling and projection lies in what level his playmaking can reach. He's not a natural point guard. His 14.4% assist percentage is low for a lead guard. Continuing his trend from high school, most of his assists came from transition or attacking tilted defenses. In the half court, he hits basic reads, dump-offs, lobs, kickouts, but you don't see much manipulation or high-level pick-and-roll reads. Interestingly, his assist rate tells two stories. In the first half of the year, where his usage was lower, he posted a 17.3% assist percentage. Second half, as his usage climbed, his assist percentage dropped down to 12%. At first glance, that looks like a concern, but context matters. Jase played alongside another point guard, so many of his touches were scoring focused. That may reflect role, not skill. the real question isn't just can he run an offense, it's how many lineups can he fit into. If he can't function as a lead guard, then his value is tied to being next to a high usage creator, which not every team has. That kind of role dependency limits scalability. He doesn't need to be elite, just enough to handle reps, pressure the rim, and make second level reads. If he can't hit that threshold, his fit becomes much more narrow. Think of someone like Emmanuel Quickly, another guard with a low assist percentage in college. He wasn't a natural passer, but he developed enough to become a starting point guard earning $30 million plus a year. That level is possible for Jase if he can layer in more creation and passing over time. In my earlier videos, I introduced the phase framework, a tool to evaluate where a player's skills show up, in the creation phase, extension phase, or conversion phase. I've since added transition and defense as distinct phases and applied weightings to reflect positional importance. This is not a formula, it's a lens for me to view prospects and their skills and where they actually matter. Each phase is scored out of 5 stars for both current level and potential. Weighted together, they offer a holistic snapshot. In the creation phase, where it's all about shifting defenses and creating gaps initially, Jase's current score was 2.2 stars out of 5, and his potential score was 3.6 stars out of 5. Limited passing versatility and a capped potential as a pick and roll creator penalize him the most here. He can still reach a solid level, but definitely not elite, or even sub-elite. In the extension phase, where keeping advantages alive after they're created is vital, Jase's current score was 3.05 stars, and his potential score was 4.675 stars. This was his strongest phase, and his decision making and spot-up gravity drove up his score. The conversion phase is scoring off created or extended advantages. Jase also shines here, with a current score of 3.4 stars, which is his highest current score so far, and a potential score of 4.65 stars. He's a high-level play finisher, both at the rim and from deep. So it makes sense this is his most NBA-ready phase, skill-wise. Jase also scored well in the transition phase, where his current score was 2.9 stars, and his potential score was 4.375 stars. He's an open court threat who can finish at the rim, push the ball, make smart passes, and also hit the open 3 in transition. Finally, his defense. This is where Jase scored the lowest, which makes sense given his stature and height. His current score was 2.17 stars, but his potential was the lowest so far, 3.34 stars. His size and switchability limitations weighed him down here, although he's solid within a scheme. Considering he's a guard, I gave the creation phase the most weight, followed by extension and defense. With these weights into account, Jase's final score was 2.66 stars for current and 4.02 stars for potential. I retroactively applied this to VJ and Derik Queen since those are the last 2 videos I made, and VJ came out the highest potential-wise, and Derik Queen was right behind Jase potential-wise. However, Jase had the highest current score, indicating he has the highest floor of these 3, which makes sense given his high-level play finishing from day 1 entering the league. So Jase is a skilled, athletic guard who pressures the rim, shoots off the catch, and makes smart decisions. A potentially elite extension phase and conversion phase contributor, the long-term question is what level can he reach in the creation phase? And will it be enough to offset the things he takes away in a defensive phase due to his size? If he can grow as a handler and passer, he has a real pathway to becoming a combo guard with starting upside. Personally, I believe in that upside, and I'd be willing to draft him anywhere from 5 to 10 in the 2025 NBA draft.